What was the Russian president's comment to that?
Speaking about these calls made by some Western officials, including the head of NATO, to officially allow Ukraine to use Western-made weapons and attack targets on Russian territory, Putin says that they hear these calls, they're closely monitoring them, but then he says the way some of these weapons technically work is that even if Ukrainians were formally allowed to use them, then the way they work is that the West would still be responsible for these attacks. Here's why.
Высокоточное оружие большой дальности, high precision, long-range weapons cannot be launched without using space reconnaissance. In addition, the final target choice and the so-called flight mission can only be made by highly qualified specialists based on this technical intelligence. Who is doing this? This is done by those who produce and allegedly supply these systems to Ukraine. This can and does happen without the participation of Ukrainian military personnel. And other systems are also being prepared on the basis of space exploration and are automatically brought to the appropriate calculations. This task is being prepared not by Ukrainian servicemen, but by representatives of NATO countries. But these representatives of NATO countries, especially in Europe, they should generally be aware of what they are playing with. They should remember that this is, as a rule, a state with a small territory and a very dense population. And this is a factor that they should keep in mind before talking about striking deep into Russian territory. This is a serious matter, and we are, of course, watching it very carefully.
Vladimir Putin also commented on calls by some European states, including Baltic states, to send NATO military instructors to Ukraine. While Putin says that Westerners have been fighting Russia and Ukraine for a while now, Moscow clearly sees it, and he says they've been suffering severe losses. And Vladimir Putin thinks that turning these mercenaries formally into NATO military instructors could be a way of legitimizing these deaths.
The Kiev military are saying that foreign specialists may appear in Ukraine. Of course, they have been there for a long time, under the guise of so-called mercenaries. We hear their radio communications, in English, in French, in Polish, and they are suffering losses, and it's getting more and more difficult for them to be hidden. So maybe the time has come to officially show their presence, to legalize these losses. Also, Polish authorities declare that they are ready to send their contingents. They claim they do it to protect their own border and to allow reserve Ukrainian units to be moved to the front lines. It's not a good decision. It's another escalation and another step towards a serious European conflict. They will be in the striking range of our military forces. Do they want it? They are welcome. We will still do as we see fit, regardless of who is on the territory of Ukraine.
Well, while stating its unwavering support for Ukraine, Washington is refusing to allow Kiev to use its weapons to strike Russian territory, something that the NATO Secretary General has been pushing for.